Welcome to another episode of the Azure Enablement Show. Today we are going to have a look at subscription vending and how you can use that to provide Azure environments within your organization. Welcome back. My name is Thomas and I'm here with Matt and Jack from the Cloud Adoption Framework team to talk about subscription vending and how you can use that to provide Azure environments within your organization. So Matt and Jack, it's great to have you here. Matt, can you quickly talk about what subscription vending is and what problems it solves?
Sure, it's a good question. Ultimately, it's about defining and optimizing the process that an organization goes through in order to issue Azure subscriptions to the teams that need them. And if you think about the kind of approvals that you might need, the sort of teams you might need to speak to, including finance, like the networking team for IP addresses, there's a lot going on there. So it's really about making that as efficient and as quick as possible.
Awesome. And so we talk about like that this obviously can provide value to your organization and different teams and so on, but who should consider using subscription vending and what are the benefits they get out of that?
Sure, no, good question. Really, any customer should look at the subscription vending process in their organization, but especially those with an EA, an MCA, or an MPA agreement with Microsoft, because those customers can automate the process end to end. And that's what we're really after here, is delivering compliant subscriptions to application teams as quickly as possible.
Fantastic. So, Jack, usually we talk about Azure Landing Zones and like how we can provide these different environments for customers. So if I'm an organization today and I don't use Azure Landing Zones, can I still use subscription vending or do I need to move first to landing zones?
No, another good question. And we designed the subscription vending modules that we've created to be agnostic to ALZ. So if you have Azure Landing Zones, you absolutely can use these modules and they help accelerate your, delivering those subscriptions to your application teams even faster. But if you don't, and you have your own landing zone organization set up, you can absolutely use these modules as well. There is no dependency on anything Azure Landing Zones for these.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great to hear. And so there are obviously different types of landing zones. What types of landing zones can subscription vending be used for?
Yeah, another great question, right? And we can typically use these modules, as we said, they're agnostic. So you can use them to deliver both platform and application landing zones. And we've got in our diagram here, right, you've got the typical Azure Landing Zones hierarchy. Now, as I said, you don't need this, but to use a diagram and an example, you could provision any of the subscriptions shown in the yellow boxes via the subscription vending modules, but you just need to be careful if you're provisioning your platform subscriptions via your automation that you don't get stuck in a circular sort of loop and dependency logic where you need the platform subscriptions to exist before you can deploy your management group hierarchies and your policies and the things that need to go in the platform subscriptions, and you're not just going round in a loop. So typically we would see customers create those platform subscriptions manually and actually use the subscription vending modules that we provide for the application landing zones that you see in the right-hand side of the diagram.
That makes actually sense, right? So you build all the structure, and then for the more landing zones you need, you're going to use that. Now, with that, another question comes actually up. So especially in terms of like who in the organization or what team does actually run and implement the subscription vending service?
Yeah, and again, as you probably imagine, this is something that the platform team will provide to the rest of the organization. So people within your Cloud Center of Excellence or your cloud platform team, they'll be the ones setting up this subscription vending request process end to end, from capturing the request through to the vending and using the modules to create the subscriptions to the rest of the business. So, you as an application owner can literally go to your tool of choice, request a subscription from a catalog, and follow a nice, easy sort of GUI-based experience and something you're familiar with, whilst the platform team handle the complexities of automating this behind the scenes.
Oh, perfect. So you actually brought up another important point here, and I want to talk to Matt about this. So in the technical part, do we have any elements or technical elements which are helping to implement subscription vending?
Yeah, we certainly do. I mentioned before about EA, MPA, and MCA customers being able to automate this end to end. Well, we've actually written two infrastructure as code modules to help do just that. We've got one written in Bicep, and we've got another written in Terraform.
Nice, nice. Is there a chance you can show us a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me bring up a demo now of the Terraform module. So here is my demo environment. You can see that I've got some management groups configured in my Azure tenant. If I scroll down, you can see I've got my ALZ root group of MW demo. If I scroll down, you'll see that I've got the standard ALZ management group structure, landing zones, corp, and online. What I'm going to do now is show you the Git repo that is used to deploy this stuff. So this is a demo repository that I'm using the ALZ infrastructure as code module together with the subscription vending module, working together to demonstrate how you can deploy not only the core infrastructure, but also your application landing zones at the same time. If we look at pull requests, we can see that I've got a new pull request to create a new landing zone. Now, if I look at the files that have changed in this pull request, you'll see that there's a simple YAML file which describes a new landing zone. It's a production workload. It's going to go into this management group ID called online. And it's going to have one virtual network with an address space, and it's going to be peered to the hub virtual network. So let's go back to here and merge this pull request. When I click merge, what will happen is GitHub Actions will start. It will create a Terraform plan, and then it will require an approval to deploy to production. Now what we're going to do is look at GitHub Actions. So if we go to our actions, you can see that because that pull request got merged into our main branch, that this CI/CD work pipeline has kicked off. And the first stage of that is a Terraform plan, which runs under the CI job. So let's have a look. Okay. What we're going to do now is look at the output of that plan to see what Terraform is going to do. So I'm going to scroll down to the end, and we can see here that Terraform is going to create 9 resources and change 1. That's cool. So some of the resources we're going to create are the virtual network that we defined in our YAML file. So that's awesome. That'll look great. Why don't we now approve this job for production and see what that looks like in production? Okay, fantastic. Let's have a look in the Azure portal for our new landing zone. So if we go back to our management groups view, if you remember in our YAML file, we said we wanted the subscription in the online management group. So let's click refresh now and see what we've got. Expand MW demo. Under landing zones, under online, we have our new LZ with its new subscription ID. We can go into new LZ. We can select resource groups, and we can see that we have a networking resource group that's been provisioned by the module. If we look, we've got our spoke network with the address space that we configured. And finally, if we look at the peering, we can see that it's peered to the hub network. So this shows how the Terraform module for subscription vending can automate the end-to-end provisioning of your subscription and your core networking, as well as many other things. So check out the wiki and the module page and the HashiCorp registry for more information.
Great demo, excellent stuff here. So one question from this, how do application or workload owners initiate actually a request to have a new subscription deployed?
Yeah, so our customers typically use a various number of ITSM tools already in their estate. So, there's lots of them out there. And we didn't really today want to get caught up in the business logic side and handing approval. This person in finance needs to approve this. So we've created these modules to be more on the the business process and the business approval side has been already handled in the existing ITSM tool, and then that triggers the creation process into Azure DevOps using GitHub Action workflows and using, more importantly, the modules that we've created to deliver the subscription as an output. But that request process and that initiation should be handled in an existing tool that the business is already familiar with, so that it's a common place that they go to make service requests to get things they need, and it's not another tool they have to go and learn about and use.
That's perfect. I love that it integrates in like the existing environment. And I know that like most companies or larger organizations out there, they already have ITSM tools or tools which they use to make service requests in place. So that's fantastic. So one last thing, if I'm now excited and I want to actually try out subscription vending, where do I go?
Yeah, so you can head to the short links of aka.ms/sub-vending, and you'll find everything you need to from there, starting in the Cloud Adoption Framework, talking around the process. That will then link you onto our Azure Architecture Center page that talks a bit more in detail around the technical steps and the integration points between these different systems, and more importantly, provide you links to the modules that are hosted in GitHub and on the respective registries for Bicep and Terraform.
Awesome. So thank you very much, Matt and Jack, for being on the show today. I'm definitely going to try this out. And also thank you very much for everyone watching. If you want to learn more about the Cloud Adoption Framework, make sure you check out aka.ms/adopt.